Obi Toppin. And Ian, according to you, this is what you've been reporting, the Knicks traded Obi to the Pacers for 2 second-round picks. This was, of course, a disappointing end to the Knicks' relationship with the former 8th overall pick. But Ian, what are your thoughts on the trade?
Yeah, I think go to the day that the Knicks drafted Toppin to the day they traded him. To me, it was a huge swing and a miss by the organization because bottom line is you take Obi Toppin at 8 in 2020, you trade him in 2023 for 2 future second-rounders and some salary flexibility. I mean, that tells you all you need to know about how things unfolded here. Now, there are details throughout the course of the 3 years where maybe you say the Knicks could have done a better job with Toppin. Toppin could have played better, forced the Knicks' hands. But the bottom line, take the player out of the equation. Just look at the draft slot, and this was mishandled by New York. And one thing is, initially, I think they thought that Julius Randle would be able to be moved in Toppin's first season or in that offseason. Obviously, Randle flips the script and puts together an all-star, all-NBA season. But I think even at that point, once you know Randle is your guy, your engine, so to speak, you should explore trade opportunities for Toppin because he's probably at his highest value there coming off his rookie season.
Yeah, it just feels like it was a failed experiment that was kind of just like drawn out for some. Steph, what are your overall thoughts on Obi Toppin's tenure in New York?
I agree with Ian. I did have a problem though with the trade because if you're just going to get back, this is to me, you're in a win now situation. You've stepped into that timeline with the Knicks. Like you're not really a rebuilding team. You haven't had draft picks in the last 2 years. You're trying to win and you're trading away. And I get it. Like Obi was frustrated. He wasn't playing as many minutes as he thought. He was still a big part of a bench that was the best in the league 2 years ago and was pretty good last year. And he served a purpose on this roster, and you traded him for nothing. You could have found the financial flexibility somewhere else to stay under the luxury tax. So I don't buy that part of it. To me, that trade really was only about helping Obi and getting him to a situation where he's going to be able to show he can work for that next big contract because he wasn't going to get that with the Knicks probably. But I still thought he could have helped the Knicks. And so trading him for 2 second-round picks was just a complete waste in my opinion. And, it kind of leads to me to my opinion that there's kind of mixed feelings about this offseason. I agree. I like the Dante DiVincenzo signing. I like the fact that they were reserved with some of these superstars who don't necessarily fit. But how much better did they get by trading Obi Toppin for nothing and just bringing in DiVincenzo? I don't think they got that much better this offseason. So that's kind of where I stand.
Yeah, I mean, just on the Obi thing, I mean, I've said this a lot, but I think the original sin was you go back to draft night of 2020, you had at that point a roster that was, I mean, you want to say RJ Barrett was a cornerstone piece, okay, maybe Mitchell Robinson, and you had Julius Randle here, just like the guys just mentioned, and they may have been counting on the fact that they were going to have a Julius Randle trade lined up, but at the same time, this is a guy that averaged 20 points for them the year before. They had to know going into that year that they were going to maintain a certain price point on Julius Randle as far as what they were willing to accept back from him via trade. So to box yourself into a guy who plays one position, and it was the one position that the guy who had just led the team in scoring, plays and was tied to a significant contract. When you had a guy like Devin Vassell sitting right there, who's a wing, put him at the 2, put him at the 3, put him at the 4. To say nothing of, like a Tyrese Halliburton, but then we get into a whole sliding doors thing with Jalen Brunson, which that's a different story. But like they had options, and to Steph's point, they had options. They could have traded Obi probably after the first year and got more back, but they didn't want to do that.